Hello everyone, my name is Mike, and this is the Bored Cyborg! Welcome back to yet another video. Today I'm doing something new. I've not done anything like this in the past, but I have wanted to. Today I'm going to go through almost all, as far as I know, of my out-of-print horror Blu-rays. I wanted to do this video as sort of a guide because I'm always looking for lists of out-of-print Blu-rays and out-of-print DVDs, and there are some great ones out there on the internet, and there are a few in video form. Of course, a lot of people do this sort of a video, but I have so many out-of-print movies here, all horror movies, I should say. In this video, it's going to be horror only. I have to divvy it up into little sections of my collection in order to do this. So it's going to be horror only, and I'm going to take a look at all of the out-of-print ones that I have in my collection. Now, just because they're out-of-print doesn't mean that they're expensive. I guess rare would be more the word since they're not printing them anymore. There's only a finite amount of them out there. It was really exciting for me actually this morning when I was putting together this list. I was going through a few lists on the internet and I was like, wow, this is out of print. And I'd look it up and be like, holy shit, this is going for a ton. So hopefully it'll be surprising to you guys as well. This video won't be as much of me talking about these movies. Of course, I'm me, so I'm gonna still put my 2 cents in when I see fit. But I do want to try to get through these, give you guys the value, what it's going for now. And that leads me to another thing. All of these prices are always fluctuating. The market is always fluctuating. If a re-release is announced, that will affect the older out-of-print copies. There are tons of different variables. So just because I say what these are going for right now in this video in 2020, that doesn't mean 5 years from now they're going to be going for the same amount of money. They may be going for more, they may be going for less. Lastly, I am only going through out-of-print movies that are in my collection. So there are a ton out there that I don't own, that I wish I did, that I'm sure a bunch of you own. So I'd love to know what your favorite out-of-print movie is, or your most expensive movie, your rarest movie. Whatever it is, put it down in the comments below and we can get a little discussion rolling. And maybe I'll be put on to some films that I didn't know were out of print. This is going to be a big video. I'm probably going to have to split it up into at least 2 parts. But let's dig right in. In my typical fashion, in no specific order here, we're going to start with Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp 2, as a matter of fact. This one surprised me. This one is out of print. There are tons of Scream Factory out-of-print movies, a lot of which are right here. I'd say more than half of the releases I have to the left of me here are Scream Factory releases, or were Scream Factory releases. Sleepaway Camp 2, love this sequel. It's a great sequel that really ups the ante, adds a little bit of humor, a little more dark humor, I should say, and it's just a fun sequel. But this one, to my surprise, was going for around $40 to $50 when I checked the completed listings this morning, and that was kind of a shock. So that is Sleepaway Camp 2, and I have Sleepaway Camp 3 here, which is also out of print. This one doesn't fetch quite as much. I was seeing like 15 to 25, so not too bad, but not one of the more expensive ones in the out-of-print collection here. I have not seen Sleepaway Camp 3, but I've heard it's pretty good, just like the sequel, and of course the original classic. So looking forward to checking out the movie at some point, but that is Sleepaway Camp 3. Next up, one of my favorite zombie films of all time, and what I think is one of the most underrated horror films of all time, let alone zombie films. This is Jorge Grau's The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, which is also known by 1,000 other titles. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie is one of them. I prefer The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. It just flows nicely. I don't know. I love the title. It's long, like a lot of 70s horror titles were. My kind of thing, man. But The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue is such a creepy zombie film with these segments of zombies eating flesh that just are devoid of music, and it just wallows in these scenes, and it just, it's so creepy and so effective, and it just unnerves you to no end. This is such a great zombie film. I love it. This one doesn't fetch too much. It is out of print now. It was released by Blue Underground. I'm sure this will get a re-release at some point. The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue is going for around 20 to 30 bucks. I think it should be going for more. It's so weird what determines these movies. Obviously, it's demand, right? So that means that the demand for Living Dead at Manchester Morgue is a little bit lower when compared to a lot of the other films here. and that hurts my soul. Go check out Living Dead at Manchester Morgue before it skyrockets in price. It's going for 20 to 30 bucks. Not bad. Now we're getting into some bigger bucks here, especially because I haven't opened this yet, and especially because of those damn slipcovers, which I will admit obviously do raise the value of a lot of these films. And you're going to see not many of mine have slipcovers because I've sold them off because, I don't know, 30 bucks for a piece of paper that has similar or the same artwork, I'm good. I'm going to take that 30 and I'm going to buy something else. Buy another movie. Brain Damage, one of my favorite films of all time. Frank Henenlotter's classic, Brain Damage. This Arrow Video release with the slipcover, it's fetching 60 to 80 bucks, I'd say. I saw a bunch of completed listings, and that is in new condition. I'd probably say 50 to 60 bucks in used condition, so that's crazy. I had no idea Brain Damage was out of print. That sucks because this movie is one of the best, one of the sleaziest New York horror films ever. It's got a great clear-cut drug allegory. I love Brain Damage. Love it. Next up from Arrow, Demons, which I was surprised to see is out of print, and it's not fetching too much, 20 to 25 bucks I saw, but Demons is a classic. You know, Lamberto Bava's, Mario Bava's son, his classic. I would honestly say that Demons is Lamberto Bava's best film, and I'd say Demons 2 is probably his second best film. I do like his work. He's not his father, but I do enjoy his work. That is Demons. I love this movie. I'm compelled to talk more about these films, and I don't have the time to in this video. This is interesting. This one, The Lone Masters of Horror, Season 1, Volume 2, that's in my collection. These have gone out of print, as far as I understand. Not fetching too much, 15 to 20 bucks for this, but I would love to track down the other volumes, but I saw that the other volumes are a little bit more expensive. Maybe they have better quality shorts on them, I'm not exactly sure. But that is Masters of Horror, Season 1, Volume 2. Next up from Troma, we have Mother's Day. This is fetching around 20 to 30 bucks and is out of print. I have not seen this movie, so I cannot talk about it. Moving on to the next. Okay, this was a surprising one. I Spit on Your Grave, released by Anchor Bay. I believe it's, director's cut. This one's fetching like 30 to 40 bucks now, used, which is crazy. This is such a well-known flick and such an influential flick, and I'm not sure why this is out of print. Maybe it's in print somewhere else. Again, guys, I don't dig too deep into this stuff, but I am interested in it, so if you guys know if this was re-released, let me know down in the comments below. 30-40 bucks for I Spit on Your Grave, which is a film I've yet to see. But this is one that I have to check out at some point. It is a classic, and it is now out of print on Blu-ray. Next up, Scream Factory, one of the best little creature features from the 70s, directed by Jeff Lieberman. This is Squirm. Such a great name, such a great poster. This is now out of print from Scream Factory, and it's fetching 20 to 30 bucks, so snag it now because this is sort of a cult classic, and you should check it out if you haven't seen it. Next up, I'm going to show all three of these at once. Now, from what I understand, all three of these Vincent Price collections are now out of print. 3 is still going for 30 to 40 bucks, which is about the price that it was released at. I think that's mostly because it's newly out of print, I believe. Also, the films in the collection aren't the best Vincent Price movies. They sort of put all the best Vincent Price movies on the first 2 volumes, and then on the third, they were like, what do we do? And they just kind of put together a few other genre films from Vincent Price. There's like 4 films on that one, when the others have like 5 or 6, so it's not, I don't know, not quite as good of a set as these other 2. So 3 is going for 30, 40 bucks still. 2 is fetching, now it's fetching around 60 to 70, so snag this one, which has The Raven, The Last Man on Earth, Dr. Phibes Rises Again, The Return of the Fly, House on Haunted Hill, Comedy of Terrors, and Tomb of Legia. That's what I'm talking about. That's incredible when this one just has Master of the World, An Evening of Edgar Allan Poe, Cry of the Banshee, Tower of London, and Diary of a Madman. This one's going for 60 to 70 bucks right now, and I think it's going to keep going up. This one is insane. This may be the most expensive piece in my collection. It has one on eBay right now, over 300 bucks with a few days left from what I saw, and people are bidding on it. Tons of bids. Over $300 for this collection that I got at the old bookstore for like 25, 30 bucks years ago. So awesome. One of my prized possessions, honestly. One of my prized possessions of my entire collection. I will never get rid of this. This is one of those things I'd grab if my house was burning down. The Vincent Price Collection. Another surprising one. This one, Scream Factory put out only a few years ago, and it went out of print pretty quickly from what it seems. That's Blackula 1 and 2. Blackula and Scream, Blackula, Scream. Now, I've seen Blackula, which is excellent. I love Blackula. It is one of the best vampire films of the 70s, for sure. William Marshall as the titular Blackula. And I haven't seen the sequel with Pam Grier, but I'm looking forward to doing so. This bad boy is now fetching $50 to $60, probably even more because it's sealed here. Obviously, like I said, not getting rid of it. This is mine forever and ever. But $50, $60 now for Blackula and its sequel, which is crazy. So check these films out, though. They are a blast. Next up is Intruder, the director's cut. I was released by Synapse. I was actually having some trouble finding this. It seems like this one's going for $20 to $30, but it is out of print. This is such an underrated 80s slasher. I mean, probably the most underrated 80s slasher, in my opinion. It's by it's not by Sam Raimi, but by one of his buddies. I always forget his name. Scott Spiegel. I believe Scott Spiegel helped write Evil Dead 2. It's just a fun movie with great gore and interesting characters and a great setting in a grocery store. Basically, overnight at a grocery store. It's very cool. So check this one out. This one's going for like $20 to $30. Again, it was hard to gauge, so pick it up now. Now, talk about another crazy one, man. Swamp Thing. Wes Craven's Swamp Thing. $50 to $70 I was seeing on eBay, which is incredible. I mean, this movie is okay at best. This is one of Wes Craven's weaker flicks, in my opinion. It has been a long time, and I have grown in appreciation and love for the Swamp Thing creature. But I don't remember this being that great. Are people snagging this up because of Wes Craven? There's just the name. I don't blame them if so. But yeah, weird. $50 to $70 Swamp Thing is going for. So, yeah. Wow. This is one that's been out of print forever. The Ring. I'm so surprised this hasn't gotten a repress or something, re-release. One of my favorite horror remakes. I love this remake. I saw it in theaters 3 or 4 times with my first girlfriend and my buddies at the time. I was it was the summer going into freshman year. We loved this movie. Just couldn't get enough of it. But this is out of print now. It's been out of print for a long time, years and years now, and it's going for like $15, $20, 25 maybe. So snag this because it's, as far as I know, the only way in this country to watch this film on Blu-ray. So yeah, The Ring. This one, again, was kind of hard to find some information on. This is Harryhausen's double feature by Mill Creek, and it has 20 million miles to Earth, and it came from beneath the sea. This going for like $20 to $30, give or take. So it's still affordable. These are actually 2 Harryhausen films I've yet to see. I've almost seen all of his work, and these are 2 of the few that I've yet to see. So that is 20 minutes. This was surprising and sad. Very sad. I did a whole riff review on this movie, and I love this movie to death. It's one of the best bad movies ever made. And it's out of print now. That is The Incredible Melting Man. That's right. Go check out my riff review for The Incredible Melting Man. Maybe you'll get a kick or 2 out of it. I love this movie. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to go into depth because I have a whole video on it. This is now out of print. And it's going for $20 to $30, which tells me the demand isn't there, which saddens me. But that is The Incredible Melting Man. Hopefully I'll help with some of the demand here. I don't want to boost prices, inflate prices, but this one deserves to be seen by fans of the genre. This is a classic. Grab a couple buddies and some drinks. Watch Incredible Melting Man. It's bueno. Another surprising one. I know some of the boutique labels have picked some of these movies up, but not all of them, or at least released all of them. The Exorcist Complete Anthology. I'm about to sneeze. Okay, it's gone now. Nope. Okay. The Exorcist Complete Anthology is out of print now, and it's fetching $50, $60, $65. I was surprised to see that this is out of print. This has all of the Exorcist films, including Dominion, the prequel to The Exorcist. I always get mixed up. Dominion and Exorcist The Beginning. Was that what it was called? Yeah, The Beginning. So it has those 2, which is a story in and of itself. That's for another day. Exorcist 1, 2, and 3. All films I enjoy all of the Exorcist films. I know 2 gets a terrible rap. It is the weakest, I think, out of all of them, to be quite honest, even the newer ones, the prequels. But I still enjoy all these films and love 3. I think 3 is an underrated 90s horror flick. So that is The Exorcist out of print. This particular collection is out of print now. So there you go. Twilight Time. Twilight Time. Some of you collectors may know they're a weird company. They seem to use a lot of the same transfers as other companies, and they limit their releases to 3,000 units. They all say that, but at the same time, it never feels like the prices on these go up, and it never feels like they are actually out of print. I don't know if they found a loophole to be able to say that. I'm not trying to slander anything. I love Twilight Time and what they put out, but this one I was surprised to see isn't fetching too much. 20 to 30 bucks, and it's an underrated, really underrated, Schlesinger, really underrated John Schlesinger film with Martin Sheen, who gets involved with a voodoo cult, and I believe his son or his grandson or something gets taken by this cult. It's been a long time. Zake Smokai is in this, who's always great, from Serpent in the Rainbow. This has similar vibes to Serpent in the Rainbow, but it takes place in America, I believe in New York or in a big city. And Sheen is great in this. A great movie. Check this out. Very underrated. Fetching 20 to 30 bucks right now. Twilight Time. I believe this is out of print. I don't know the exact details. Maybe some of you guys do. Moving on. Another one that was a little hard to gauge, but I believe this 88 Films release of The Dead Next Door is out of print, and it is selling on eBay for 30 to 40 bucks now with the slipcover, that's pretty crazy for this little unknown, no budget, micro budget zombie flick that I've yet to see. I've heard mixed things about it. Some people love it. It's low budgetness. It's schlockiness. Some people hate it. I'm looking forward to judging it for myself. The Dead Next Door. Great name, by the way. Another surprising one. I actually have I Still Know What You Did Last Summer out in the shelf, but it really wasn't fetching much. Apparently it is out of print though. It is going for like 10 bucks or so. This one though is going for 20 to 30. I Know What You Did Last Summer is out of print. How crazy is that? I'm anticipating somebody to pick up the trilogy and release it in a Scream Factory set or an Arrow set or something, but for right now, this Blu-ray of I Know What You Did Last Summer is out of print, and I believe there are 2 different Blu-rays from 2 different companies, and both are out of print. So, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Great slasher. Great slasher from the 90s. I want to talk about all these movies so much. Love this movie. I think it's an underrated one, actually, from the 90s. Moving on. A lot of these were surprising. I mean, The Grudge, the American remake of The Grudge, which was directed by Shimizu, I believe. Takashi Shimizu. Am I right on that? Takashi Shimizu. The Grudge, the remake, is out of print now, and it's fetching 20 to 30 bucks. 25 to 30, really, from what I saw. So, Sarah Michelle Gellar's The Grudge. I saw this in theaters with my first girlfriend. It was a blast. I love this movie, but I do really love Ju-On as well. I don't know really which one is better. I like both. So, moving on. This was sad. One of my childhood favorites. The Garbage Pail Kids. Watching it as an adult now, it is a sad state of affairs, because this is a fucking mess of a film. And it's arguably offensive, and it's tough to watch, especially considering it was one of my favorites as a child. I watched it incessantly. I could still picture the tattered VHS box in the rental plastic. Oh my god, I could still see that. We used to rent it all the time. I have stories about this movie. Maybe that says something about me, that this was one of my favorites, and now it's an offensive, awful piece of shit. But The Garbage Pail Kids is out of print, but it saddened me to see that the demand is not quite there for this one, and it is going for about 15 bucks or so. So, not too far off from its original retail. That is The Garbage Pail Kids. Oh, Garbage Pail Kids. Now, I had a bunch of these Arrow limited editions a couple years ago, but I got into some trouble financially, and I had to sell my Reanimator and my Society. Now, I do still have those, and my Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Hurts my soul, I know. Now, I still do have those in regular Arrow fashion, but this is the only one that I've retained. This is the Region B of Cat o' Nine Tails. This bad boy's going for 50, 60 bucks with all the extra, the reversible cover art, the poster, the little hair, and little pamphlets with the story in there. But yeah, Cat o' Nine Tails, one of the few Argento's that I haven't, well, actually I haven't seen a good amount of Argento's work, probably about half his later stuff. This is one of his earlier works that I've yet to see, so Cat o' Nine Tails. Next up is Zombie Holocaust by Martino Girolami, that's right. I've not yet seen this one, but it is an Italian zombie flick from the 80s. That is Zombie Holocaust. This one's going for not too much, around 15-20 bucks, but it is out of print. Next up, Food of the Gods and Frogs. Now, I'm not a fan of Food of the Gods because of the animal slaughter that is on display in the third act of this film, so I can't watch that one. Frogs, however, I do enjoy. It is a campy movie. It's not that great, but it is a fun movie. With a lot of atmosphere. This is now out of print. It's fetching 20 to 25 bucks. Snag it now. Another one I was sad to see. I know this sounds funny, but I was sad to see that it wasn't going for more. I was like, oh, this is an obscure one. People probably love this one. Evil Speak. It's sort of one of the best hidden gems of the 80s in my opinion. It's still a film that not many people talk about. Unfortunately, fortunately, it's only fetching like 15-20 bucks right now. So it hasn't really started skyrocketing in price, so now is a good time to discover this hidden gem of a horror film from the 80s with Clint Howard in a lead role. That's right, he plays a hacker sort of character who unleashes the devil through a computer. That's all you need to know. This will be a quick one. Tentacles and Reptilicus. This is out of print, fetching 20 to 25 bucks. I have yet to see either of these films. This is a decent slasher from 1980, Terror Train, with David Copperfield and Jamie Lee Curtis. What a cast, right? I believe it's the only film Copperfield ever did, as far as I know. I don't know why he was in it. Anyway, Terror Train's fetching 20 to 25 bucks these days. It is out of print. There was a time where this was higher in price. I guess it's sort of come down a bit, but Terror Train. Two films that I adore and have adored since I was a kid in the 90s, growing up catching weird-ass movies on cable and on TV. One of those was Troll 2, and then later I discovered Troll, and Troll 2 actually traumatized me as a kid. The ending where they're eating their parents and it's just like green muck. Now I understand that's like some chlorophyll, some sort of chemical process these trolls have done to bring these humans to a like goopy plant material, whatever. But as a kid, that shit f***ed me up. And I still have a weird sort of uncanny feeling anytime I watch Troll 2. So anyway, this is going for 20 to 25 bucks now. It is out of print. I am so grateful that I own this. I picked it up a couple years ago before it went out of print because I knew it was going to. And these films are just very, very dear to my heart, so I had to pick them up. Troll 1, Troll 2. Now I need to get Troll 3, otherwise known as Contamination Point 7. I'm not making that up. A great little slasher sci-fi horror flick from 1980, Without Warning, also known as It Came Without Warning. This is really the spiritual predecessor, I will say, to Predator. I'm pretty sure the Thomas brothers saw this film and were like, I could do that much better. And goddamn, did they write that shit much better. This one is a little goofy because of the character who doesn't hold up, because of the creature, I should say, who doesn't hold up quite as well. He's alright. He's okay looking, but he's not very intimidating like the Predator is. But he does have similar weaponry to the Predator, so it's interesting to watch from that standpoint. And it also has Jack Palance and Martin Landau hamming it up. Without Warning is going for 25 to 30 bucks now. It is out of print. Snag it. Again, these two were kind of difficult to determine because eBay doesn't really allow people to sell these movies. So that is Necromantic 1 and 2. I've yet to see these movies. One day, guys. One day. These, I think the first one is fetching like 20 to 30. The other one, the 2 is fetching like 15 to 20. So not crazy expensive, but I could see these becoming obscure in the future, so I'm gonna hold on to them, and I'm scared. This Killer Thrillers collection, Baba Yaga, Night Train Murders, and Strip Nude for Your Killer. I know that Baba Yaga is out of print from Blue Underground. I don't know about the other two, but this set is fetching 25, 30, 35 bucks. So not too bad. I've not seen any of the films on this list, so or in this set, so can't really talk about it.